Hello, I am your host Angelina and you are listening to V.I.P podcast, where we talk about very important people, ponies and pooches. If you tuned into our last episode, then you will know that we went over UK equestrian coronavirus guidelines and had a light-hearted interview with my non-horsey boyfriend where I tested his knowledge on the equine lingo. There were a few instances where he asked me why us equestrians use the terminology we do, and my reply was, we just do. I have grown up with horses and learnt the lingo along the way, so it's practically natural for me to use this terminology. However, it did get me thinking, why myself? So in today's episode, I am bringing to you exactly why it is we use some of the terms we use today. Also in this episode, we will be introducing a new section to V.I.P podcasts, and we have an exclusive interview with Rachael Grylls, my mother, on trick training horses. So here we have our first words and their meaning. So let's start with hands high. Apparently, it was one of the ancient society's ways of measuring, as they had never had tools that we do today. They would measure horses by hands, which we have continued the tradition on all the way to the present day. For those of you who are wondering, one hand is around 4 inches. Another word that came up was crest. So from what I can tell, it's to do with the fact that the horse's crest is one of the highest points of the horse. For example, you can have a crest of a wave or a crest of a hill, which also refers to the highest points. Moving on, so the word hack. From what I've read, there are a couple of reasons as to why we call it hacking. One of those reasons being that back in the day, when carriage horses were being used for riding, they were called hacks, as a shortened version of hackney, which was originally used to describe an ordinary riding horse, particularly one which was for hire. Another reason was a specific horse breed which was developed in England known as the hackney, a lively riding horse which was noted for its trotting ability and is used today for both riding and driving. This is where I thought the term came from originally when Alan asked me in the last episode. So the horse's frog has actually quite a funny reason as to why it's called the frog. The frog was given the name it is today because of the shape of it. So apparently the horse's frog resembles that of an actual frog. It seems quite simple, yet it never actually occurred to me until my dad pointed it out, and then I went and researched it and it was proven correct. If you have any other interesting facts on why us equestrians use the terminology we do, please do comment them below. I would love to read through them. Moving on to the new section of our V.I.P podcast, we are going to choose a horse breed at random and give you the history and most interesting facts. This is V.I.P's Horse of the Month. So, this month we have picked the Friesian. These are extremely stunning horses. I was in fact searching for one back when I was looking for a new horse to join my little family. However, I chose a thoroughbred cross-draught horse instead, which is quite surprising due to the complete difference in the two. I wouldn't change my boy Radley for the world, but it's time to talk about the history of this divine breed. So, Friesian horses originated from Friesland in the Netherlands. I apologise if I pronounce that wrong, but and according to my research, Friesland is an old country dating back to 500 BC, when the Frisians settled along the coast of the North Sea. They were tradesmen, seafarers, farmers and horse breeders. These horses are known for how graceful they look, so it shouldn't come as a surprise when it says that they are used in dressage as well as being used in harness for competitive driving. If you are looking for a Friesian horse, as I found out when I was looking for one for myself, they are actually quite rare. I had a really hard time finding any, and the ones I did find didn't fit what I needed. I was looking for a specific type of horse, one which was between 16 to 17 hands high, and great at jumping. Well, those of you that are familiar with Friesians, you know that actually, although they can, Friesians aren't actually built for jumping. Apparently, the angles and weight bearing in their shoulders and neck make them unsuitable for jumping. Friesians can vary in height from 14 hands high to 17 hands high, which covered my height range that I was looking for. However, their average height was 15 hands high, which is slightly smaller than what I was looking for. I love Friesians, so if you are lucky enough to own one, then please do send over some pictures of yours. Now we welcome animal trainer Rachael Grylls to V.I.P podcast. Hello, Rachael.
Hiya.
Rachael is a British horse and dog trainer, and although she now mainly trains dogs, she has been on Britain's Got Talent twice, once with her Welsh Section D stallion, Black Lad, and once with her 2 miniature American horses. Rachael has also attended various shows with her horse trick display team, some of which I was even a part of. If you wish to view some fairly old footage of Rachael's trick ponies, then have a search on YouTube for Rexon performing Ponies and Pooches. You may even find a young Angelina dancing her little heart out to the Grease performance music. Rachael, could you list a few other places you have performed at with your horses in the past?
A couple of programmes that we've been on is A Very British Party. We've also been on Louis Spence's Show Business, and we were also on Who Let the Dogs Out and About. We also did some rural county shows and other local shows as well.
So could you tell us what it was like to start off with these rural county shows and then go on to bigger things like the TV?
Yeah, so to start off with, we did the local shows, which I thought was really cool. The buzz from the audience was amazing, and obviously we wanted to see how the ponies would react to the public and whether they would still focus on us doing the tricks, because again it was all new to them. But yeah, the more the audience clapped, the more the ponies showed off, if you like. It was great. Each trick seemed bigger and better. We started off with, like I say, the local shows, and then we went to county shows, whereas we would pay to compete our horses in classes. We were actually getting paid to perform, which was even better, but this was a bonus. We got to go to like Devon County Show for the whole 4 days, and they would put up all the stabling for the horses. So we'd have all our camping. We had a big horse lorry which we stayed in, and yeah, it was such a buzz off the audience. We then went on and was asked to do a bit of TV work. Yes, we were asked to go on Britain's Got Talent. That was kind of quite hard for the horses, really, because it was a very small stage, very narrow corridors. We went to Wales and Cardiff for one of the performances, and yeah, they're not really equipped for a big horse to go on stage. The floor was very slippy. They did give me 1 square of rubber matting for the horse to perform on, so we couldn't really move much. No,
they weren't very well organised.
No, we were kind of stood in one place and have to try and perform all our tricks. The second time they asked us to go back, they did actually carpet the whole stage for us, and we decided to take the smaller ponies because it was easier for them to come up and down the corridors and things. And again, yeah, I thought the ponies would be fazed by all the lights and the cameras and everything in the audience there, but they were fantastic actually, and I think it's quite hard for the judges to be able to judge them because they don't understand what flight animals they are, and to actually be in those surroundings, it was really hard and daunting for them, really. But they still pulled it off and they performed. If
I remember correctly, Deck was actually quite scared of the horses, wasn't he?
He was, yes. He gave Black Lad a pat on the shoulder, and of course, when I touched Black Lad's shoulder, it's one of his cues, so Black Lad thought Deck was asking for a trick, and he started to bring out his front leg to do the Spanish walk, and he thought that he was going to kick him. It was quite funny actually seeing Ant and Deck off camera to on camera. They're completely different, but no, it was good meeting all the different people and the celebrities along the way.
Did you ever get starstruck?
I was very nervous, very nervous. I felt like I was going to be sick just before I went on stage. But once I was actually on there performing and focusing on the horse, and I forgot they were all there really, and it was a complete different situation. I suppose the shows that I performed at were more relaxed, even though you had hundreds of eyes watching you. It was more fun. You were in the open, and like I say, the crowd were clapping and cheering with you all along the way. And we did several TV programmes as well, and what was really nice that we did Louis Spence's Show Business. You felt really like a celebrity, I suppose, because they actually had the red carpet out there for you to walk up, because we had the premiere. There was all free wine and champagne and food, so that was really cool, getting in with all the celebrities. And during that evening, that was up in London, We also went to the Lemonade studios. We did photo shoots and things like that. So yeah, no, it was really cool.
Talking about celebrities, there is no one more up there than the Queen, and you had a letter from her, is that correct?
I did, yes. We wrote to the Queen to tell her what we were doing with Blackleg, because I do know the Queen is very passionate in Monty Roberts, and obviously Monty Roberts, I followed Monty Roberts, and I got a lot of like my join up in that of Monty Roberts. So I wrote to the Queen and sent her photographs of Black Lad and I, and told her what we did, the shows that we went to. And she wrote back saying that what we was doing with Black Lad was truly amazing, and she wished us luck for the future.
That's lovely, isn't it?
It was really nice to get a letter from the Queen. I think the postman was so excited when he brought the letter. He was like waving it out and he goes, "Oh, look what you've got, look what you've got." And I was saying good morning to him, not paying any attention. And he was like bursting at the seams for me to open this letter.
Did you open it in front of him?
No, I don't think I did. I think I said, "Oh, thank you." Shut the door. But yeah, no, he was so excited. But he had a letter and he said, "I've never handled one of these before." He was giving it to me. But no, the Queen is very passionate about her horses as well. So, and to this day, she's still riding, I think.
Yeah, I saw a post about it the other day.
She's amazing, absolutely amazing. But yeah, also my little doggies, they did a bit of horse riding as well on my trick training ponies. So that was cool, interacting the two as well. Really cool.
Okay. Could you please tell our listeners just how it was that you came into the trick training world and what made you want to try it with your horses initially?
Many years ago, I went to see a Passionata at the West Point, I think that one was. No, I think that might have been Birmingham when we went to. We went to Birmingham to the NEC to see a Passionata. I then saw the Lipizzanas at West Point, Exeter. After first going to Birmingham and seeing a Passionata with the Friesians and the fantastic horses that they had there, I decided I was going to come home and have a go at doing it with my Welsh Section D stallion, Black Lad, as most of you may know. I still have Black Lad with me now. He's about 25 years old, but at the time I thought I'd come home and give it a go with just, a normal pony that most people own. Didn't have to be a fancy Friesian or a Lipizzana or anything like that.
And Black Lad's retired now, isn't he?
Yes, he retired about 5-6 years ago.
Is that just due to old age?
Yeah, he was getting a bit old, bless him. I mean, to this day, you go into the sand school with him with a bit of bread, he'll still get down and do a bow for you. He's still willing in his mind and his heart, bless him.
Okay. So how long does it take you to train a horse?
Well, it varies on the horse, really, and also on the trick that you're asking the horse to do. To start off with, I didn't have a clue on how to teach the horses to do tricks. So Black Lad, bless him, he was my guinea pig. It took me a while to learn how to do each individual trick with him and what approach to take to get the tricks. I started off with basic join up. Some of you may know from like Monty Roberts. So I would walk around, the horse would follow me. If I ran, he would trot, and just basic join up. He'd have him follow me around the school. Then I'd go start doing spins and things, and again he'd follow me. I then started doing things like pushing to his space, so he would then push away from me, and getting a bond that way.
And the bond you have with Black Lad is very strong, isn't it?
Yes, Black Lad and I have been together for many, many years now. I first started just doing shows in hand and under saddle shows with Black Lad before I went into trick training him.
So, could you please describe some of your tricks that you've trained and your methods and ways of teaching the horse?
Okay, so like I said before, we do a bit join up. Once we've gone past the join up bit, I do use a bit like clicker training. I don't know if any of you have ever clicker trained your dogs or anything, when you click and then reward, click and then you reward. Obviously when training a horse I have quite a few things on me, so I tend to use a schooling whip. Not to hit the horse with or anything, it's literally an extension of my arm, because obviously some of the horses are quite big that I train, and if I want to tap their bum or their leg, obviously my arm's not long enough and I want to still stand parallel to the horse, so I will use a schooling whip. And also I use carrot or bread as a reward. So again, like I say, like clicker training, I'll use my voice. I'll kind of make a tune going woo 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 woo, and every time the horse heard that, they would know that the piece of bread would come. I suppose the first tricks I teach my horse really is a bow. I find that a quite easy trick to teach the horse. So again, to start off with, I'll break the trick down, starting with just getting the horse to bend its head down towards its chest to get a little bit of bread. And again, I'll make my woo 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 noise and reward, so the horse is understanding what I'm after. And once I've taught that completely separate, I'll then go on and actually teach the leg. So I want the horse to hold the leg up, bend it and hold it up. And again, using my cue word to reward him, and then I'll put the two together. So as I ask for the leg to be bent up, I'll also bring the head down towards the chest. And as the horse goes down to the floor for the first time, I'm very quick with my woo woo woos to reward him, and they often shoot up quite quickly to start off with because they're liking a bit like, ooh, what was that? What did I do? And then obviously then the duration of the time with the horse being down in that position can go on and on and on. But again, different horses can come to it quicker than others.
Was there some kind of test you did that to see if a horse was one that could be more suitable or have a better mentality for learning tricks?
Funny enough, the nervous horses tend to be the better ones. You tend to get a stronger bond with the nervous horses. It takes longer to get them to understand what you're asking them to do and to get their confidence with you. But actually, once you've trained a nervous horse, they're fantastic. The more bolder horses can be a bit more pushy and a bit more arrogant
and naughty.
Yeah, a bit cheeky.
So obviously I know which horses you use, and I found that most of the ones that you trick trained were actually stallions. Is there a reason for that?
I do like my stallions. I find stallions have a present. They hold themselves nice. They're always willing to perform. They're always keen to be learning new things. They're very intelligent. Nothing against mares. I've done trick training with some of the mares as well. And they've been absolutely fine, but I just love the presence of a stallion and the way they carry themselves and hold themselves.
Because you also used to do showing, didn't you?
Yes, we used to do a lot of showing in hand and under saddle. It got to the point, it sounds a bit big-headed, but it got to the point where it became quite boring in the end because, you'd go, you'd win all your ribbons and you'd come home and it would just seem to be the same thing over and over and over again. Whereas with your trick training, the horses react completely different to the public and the crowd cheering them on.
That must be nice. So Rachel, let's take you right back to when you were attending Duchy College. And for our listeners that perhaps don't know, Duchy College is a specialist land-based college. Rachel went there to complete an equine course and I went there to complete an animal management course. Rachel, when you were there, did you ever think or dream of becoming a horse trick trainer? Were you sat in class daydreaming, or did you actually have totally different plans originally?
When I was at school, going back many, many years ago, I wanted to go to a racing yard actually. Wanted to work in Surrey at a racing yard there. But obviously then I went to Duchy College, and whilst I was at Duchy College I wanted to go down the riding instructor line, so I wanted to teach people to ride. But then I did a course and a work placement at a stud yard, hence Rexon Stud, where we are now. So I was going to do my riding and stud course, and I kind of never left Rexon Stud, as you all know. I married Sean, and this is where I become.
Okay, so tell us how you initially even came into the equine world, because as I understand you came from a non-horsey family background, correct?
Yes, originally I come from Birmingham. I lived in Birmingham till I was 9 years old. My parents used to come down to Devon and Cornwall on holiday, and one year we got burgled. So that was it. My mum said, that's it, we're packing everything up and we're moving to Devon. So we did. And the primary school I went to, my best friend Lydia had horses. And I used to go and muck her horses out while she rode. And then obviously we could go home and play and do whatever then. So yeah, Lydia kind of got me into horses and I decided to learn to ride. And it went from there.
As you have told me many times in the past, you're actually quite the rebel when you were younger. You would bomb around on your horse and in fact enjoy and encourage him to be a bit naughty, yeah?
Yes. When I finally got one of my own ponies and got my confidence, the girls at the livery yard and I would go off riding. We'd be gone for 6-7 hours at one point. We'd go to the village shop, we'd buy snacks, we'd tie a carrier bag to our saddle, and we'd be gone for the whole day. If the farmer left a gate open, we were naughty and we'd go for a quick bum around the field and back out again as though we were never there. But yeah, no, it was good fun as a child. We had so much fun with the ponies. If any of my friends had a naughty pony, I'd be the first one on their back. I'd swap over ponies, be first on their back, and I'd love having a naughty horse. The naughtier the better back then.
That is your saying, isn't it?
Yes.
Is it true that you even tried to ride a cow?
I did, yes. I used to help out weekends at a riding school in Cockington, and they used to take out pleasure rides. And again, I would go on many of the rides. Then I'd always be the one at the back, shutting all the gates, and then I'd hold the horse back and then have a sneaky canter. But at the end of the day, we used to have to go and get the cows in, and they only had 6 dairy cows. And one day my friend said to me, "Oh, they used to ride that cow." So I said, "Well, which one was it?" I mean, all the cows looked the same. I think she was having me on, really. Anyway, she gave me a leg up and I jumped on a cow. And I was on the cow at the back of the line, and it's barged past all the other cows and was then at the front, and we were heading towards the road. So I decided to bail off the side, and as I leant forward to bail off, the cow bromped and I went down a brick wall and caught on my chin and ended up having 4 stitches under my chin.
Wow, so there you have it, guys. From someone who comes from a non-horsey background to causing havoc and riding cows, to then landing a work placement and never leaving, to then becoming an equine trainer, here is Rachael Grylls. Thank you so much for joining the V.I.P podcast, Rachael. Hope you enjoyed your time with us.
I have. Thank you very much for having me.
And for our listeners, taking you back to the start of this episode for a bit of fun, thinking back to when we talked about the hands high, work out how many inches your horse works out to be and comment your answers below. And don't forget to send in those photos of your Friesian if any of you are lucky enough to own one. Last but not least, if you wish to hear more from Rachael Grylls, then please keep an eye out for her interview with V.I.P podcast on her dogs and all of their achievements together. If you like our podcast, please be sure to subscribe to our channels and follow us on our social medias. Speak to you all again soon.